It's been months since Emma's tragic death. Lucy still hasn't quite come to terms with it. The suddenness of the accident had left her family shattered, but no one more so than Lucy. She and Emma were closer than anyone could imagine, inseparable since childhood. Emma had been the life of every gathering, always bringing joy with her infectious laughter and free-spirited nature. But now, that spark was gone. Lucy never questioned the details surrounding the accident. Until now. It had happened one rainy evening. Emma had been out with some friends, a casual drive home from a night out, but somewhere along the way, something had gone terribly wrong. The authorities had ruled it a tragic accident, a slip of the tires on a slick road, but for Lucy, it never felt right. There was a nagging feeling, a sense that something had been overlooked, but she couldn't place it. For weeks, Lucy had been immersed in grief. Every corner of the house held a memory of her sister. The coffee cup Emma always used. The framed photo from their childhood, hanging on the living room wall. It was all too much. She tried to distract herself, to move on. But the weight of the loss never seemed to lift. Then it began. A single text message, at first. It was from Emma's old number. Lucy had been at work when the notification pinged on her phone. At first, she stared at the screen, unable to process what she was seeing.
Hey, Luce. I miss you. I know it's been a while, but you're always in my thoughts. I hope you're okay.
It was a message she had to read again and again. Emma's number. Emma's words. But it couldn't be her. Emma was dead. It was impossible. Lucy tried to call the number, but the call wouldn't go through. It was disconnected. How could this be? At first, Lucy convinced herself that it was some kind of prank. Maybe someone had taken Emma's phone and was playing a cruel joke. She dismissed it as a glitch or a sick joke, until the next message came. It was the next day, and it contained something Emma had always said, a phrase so uniquely hers that no one else would have known it.
The stars will always shine bright for you, Luce. I'll never stop watching over you.
The messages kept coming, sporadically at first, then more regularly. Each time, the content grew more personal. Emma had always been able to predict things, know exactly what Lucy was feeling, sometimes before Lucy even realized it herself. And now, these messages were echoing that same intimate understanding.
How's Mom? Has she been eating properly? You know she needs her rest.
Lucy had just spoken to their mother the night before, and yet the message was spot on. How did this person know? Lucy felt her heart race as she read each word. Was this Emma? Could it really be her? But as much as she wanted to believe it, something about it still didn't feel right. It was as if the messages were too precise, too perfect. There was an edge to them, an eerie familiarity, yes, but also a creeping sense of danger. And then came the last message, the one that Lucy couldn't ignore.
Be careful. Someone's been watching you. He's closer than you think. Don't trust anyone, especially not him. You're in danger.
Lucy was frozen. She read the message over and over again, her breath caught in her throat. Who was him? And who was watching her? It didn't make sense. The more she thought about it, the more her mind raced. It was as if someone was trying to protect her. But from what? From who? The next few days were a blur. Lucy tried to go about her routine, but the constant barrage of messages made it impossible to focus. The text started to include warnings about her own safety, details that only Emma could have known. It was as if Emma was reaching out from beyond the grave, trying to warn her of something she couldn't yet see.
He's been coming to your house at night. Watch the back door.
Lucy didn't sleep that night. She stayed awake, her eyes fixed on the back door. She didn't know who she was waiting for, but she had to know if the warning was real. The following evening, the phone buzzed again.
He's coming.
Her heart pounded in her chest as she opened the door. Her eyes scanned the darkness outside, but there was nothing. No one. She waited for hours, half expecting someone or something to appear. But nothing happened. Yet, the unease lingered. The next day, Lucy decided to take matters in her own hands. She began going through the old files Emma had left behind. Letters, journals, photographs. Anything that might give her a clue as to what was really going on. That's when she found the old photograph. It was tucked inside a drawer, a picture of Emma with a man she didn't recognize. He was standing too close to Emma, his arm draped around her shoulders in a way that seemed off. Lucy's gut instinct screamed that something wasn't right. She found another photograph, one of Emma and this same man standing together in front of their house. It was taken during a family gathering. In the background, Lucy could make out her father, but there was no memory of this man in the family. It wasn't someone they knew. Then came the breakthrough. A message arrived, one that would change everything.
He killed me. He made it look like an accident, but it wasn't. He's the one who did it.
Lucy felt the blood drain from her face. It all came crashing down. The message wasn't just a warning. It was a confession. Emma had been murdered, and whoever had done it was trying to cover their tracks. But why? Why would someone do this? And why was Emma trying to tell Lucy now? The text continued.
You know who he is. You've seen him before. You have to stop him before he hurts you too.
Lucy's hands shook as she read those words. The man in the photograph, the one with Emma, was the same man she'd seen at a few family gatherings over the years. His name was Thomas, a family friend. Or at least, that's what everyone thought. He'd always been friendly, charismatic. But now, Lucy was seeing him in a different light. His smile in the photograph seemed hollow, deceptive, and everything about him now felt wrong. Lucy's mind raced. Was he the one who had killed Emma? Had he staged the accident to cover his tracks? The more she thought about it, the more it made sense. Thomas had been at the scene the night of Emma's death. He had been one of the first to arrive at the hospital, pretending to be shocked, concerned. But what if he knew exactly what had happened? What if he had been the one driving that night? Determined to uncover the truth, Lucy went to the police. She showed them the photographs, the messages, everything. They were skeptical at first, dismissing it as a result of her grief. But when Lucy revealed the last text, everything changed. It was enough to get them to investigate further. They found that Thomas had been involved in Emma's death. He had been the one behind the wheel. The truth was far darker than Lucy had imagined. Emma hadn't died in an accident. She had been murdered, and Thomas had staged the scene to make it look like an unfortunate slip of the tires. Lucy's world shattered as the truth came to light. The man she had trusted, the man her family had welcomed into their home for years, had been the one to take her sister's life. And Emma had known. She had been trying to protect Lucy all along, even from beyond the grave. As the police closed in on Thomas, Lucy couldn't help but feel a sense of bittersweet relief. Her sister's death had not been an accident. It had been murder, and now the truth was out. Emma had saved her, even in death. Lucy couldn't help but whisper into the quiet night.
Thank you, Emma. I'll never forget you.
The messages stopped after that. There were no more warnings, no more texts. Emma was gone, but her final gift to Lucy, her truth, had set everything right. The truth was out, and for the first time in months, Lucy felt a sense of peace. Her sister had protected her, even from beyond the grave. And in the end, that was all that mattered.